Winning the pole toss-up and leading the field down to the green flag for the round of North Carolina would be Heat 2 winner Ty Dent. This is the first time the Heat 2 drivers have lined up on the inside. Ty Dent beat off Skylar Dixon, who has won the pole toss-up every time that he has won a heat race. There's a lot of contact going on, especially near the back. Gerald Reddington and Richard Trelinsky slap the wall, and Andreas Allen has taken the lead as he's gone by Ty Dent and Skylar Dixon 3 wide down the backstretch. On the second lap off of turn 2, Sawyer Girl went around. Tyler Faber saved that car, but we had a big wreck as Sawyer was sent spinning in front of the whole field. Demir Bejianoff, James O'Shea, Jeffrey Finguy, Matthew Stringer, Spencer Fullerton, Jacob Young, Mark Nutt, and several others. Oh, Scott Batista as well got spun around by Mark Nutt and slammed by Jeffrey Finguy. That just added to the damage that he had. William Duncan and a few others were also involved. Predictably, the only cars we saw come into the pits under this caution were cars with significant damage. Also in other than those 7 cars you just saw were William Duncan, James O'Shea, and Jeffrey Finguy. Leading the field back to the green flag would be Andreas Allen in the 39 car. 5 cars went out of the race from that accident. They were Jacob Young, Scott Batista, Demir Bejianoff, Jeffrey Finguy, and James O'Shea. Once again, just a lap after the restart, we would have some more trouble when Terrence Day got into Ilya Bondarenko. They went down the track. Ilya came up, and they both spun right in front of the field. Skylar Dixon, Ophelia Endumian, Alex Allen, Tyler Faber, Chris Washer, Alex Tanker, Gerald Reddington, all involved in this pretty big accident. Once again, just nowhere to go for the cars that chose to take in the inside line. On their way back to the yellow flag, Mike Doan would get by Andreas Allen. Andreas would try to get a run off of 4 to keep the lead to the caution flag, but it wouldn't be enough. Mike Doan will lead under caution. Again under caution. A lot of the field that were damaged or who were running near the back to begin with came into the pits. Mike Doan would lead the remaining field back to the restart. Another 3 cars went out from that accident. They were Alex Tanker, Gerald Reddington, and Pichu London. That's definitely not to say that there aren't destroyed race cars still running out on track. As you can see in the background, there's about 3 or 4 hoodless cars still out there. Andreas Allen, in the meantime, back up front, is has made a pass on Mike Doan to retake the lead. William Nicholson and Luca Obrovac are also making their way to the front on the inside line. Drivers are being just a little bit too aggressive early on in this race. Luke Walker dived it into 3, made some contact with William Nicholson. They slid up into Ty Dent. They all got some damage when they hit the wall. It seems that this race has basically just become a war of attrition here. As hopefully things have calmed down up front for the most part. Andreas Allen, as per usual, will lead the field back to the green flag. The only cars to pit under this caution were the damaged cars in the previous accident and, the already massively damaged cars from the first 2. Andreas Allen would get a nice restart over Luca Obrovac, although Luca is trying to take a look off of turn 4. He does so now, and Luca Obrovac is going to become the 4th leader of the race. The top 7 or so have broken away. These cars are, most obviously the fastest cars of this race, and Mike Doan has gotten to the inside of Luca Obrovac, and Richard Trelinsky made it 3 wide through turns 3 and 4 there. These cars relatively evenly matched. Luca Obrovac slides up, and he moves back to 5th position as Richard Trelinsky inherits the lead. Not for long, however, as Paul Swanson got to the inside of him off of 4, and Andreas Allen wants to lead back as he got to the inside of both of them. As Paul Swanson slid up dangerously high there. Luca Obrovac, Paul Swanson, and Richard Trelinsky all making some contact there, but these drivers hold on to their cars and continue on. While the lead group has relatively settled out, I might as well mark out some of the very, very slow cars on track that the leaders are already starting to catch. the 77 of Ilya Bondarenko, who, what the heck is he even doing out there with the car that destroyed? Skylar Dixon doesn't have much visual damage, but there's something wrong with that car. Matthew Nicholson in the 66 has some serious issues with his car. Ty Dent, Dakota Honecker, Matthew Stringer, Luke Walker, Spencer Fullerton, Tyler Faber, and, well, most of the cars not in the lead 7 have been involved in an accident so far in this race. In the meantime, Mike Doan has reeled in Andreas Allen and is trying to make a pass on him around some of this lap traffic. He's the first to get around, and Andreas Allen and the rest of the field is having a little bit more trouble with them. Andreas flies by both of them, and a few cars squeak through the middle. It would take a little bit of time for the drivers to get around him, but considering their slowness, it wouldn't be too long. As the second draft came up to put the slow drivers' lap down, TJ Dent would get into William Nicholson. He would slide down. Johnny Appleseed, Spencer Fullerton, Tyler Faber all crash in. And here comes Matthew Stringer and Ty Dent. They slam into Johnny Appleseed. There's both of his team's drivers out, and Matthew Nicholson slams in just for some good measure. What the heck were these drivers thinking? Seriously, slow down for an accident. Let's go on board Johnny Appleseed through this. He was running way too close to the apron, considering that there was a slow car down there. Made some contact with William Nicholson, who only came up the track a little bit, then got slammed by his teammate Matthew Stringer and Ty Dent. Oh, and a couple of other drivers too. Under this caution, the leaders would come in to make the regularly scheduled pit stops. Of course, a lot of drivers came in to fix their damage as well. The only car to stay out that was not a lap down was Luke Walker. The cars that were a lap down that stayed out came in about a lap, as they were supposed to. On the restart, the pretty dangerously slow Luke Walker in the 100 car would lead the field back to the green flag. He's held on so far, but he really gunned it on that restart, and already Mike Doan is all over him. Mike Doan just slingshots by on the backstretch to retake the lead. Mike Doan did have to check up a little bit for Luke Walker, and Andreas Allen would use that opportunity to retake the lead for himself. A few laps after the restart, and already we see the top 6 breaking away from the rest of the field again. Richard Chelinski, Andreas Allen, Mike Doan, Carl Endumian, Paul Swanson, and Michael Kane, who has joined the mix. He seems to be quite quick. Luka Obrovac has been negotiating some lap traffic for a while, so he may not be able to get back up to this pack, as Richard Chelinski has taken the lead. And for sure, the 3-wide racing for position in these top 5 has definitely not ended. A lap or two afterwards, Andreas Allen would make his way underneath Richard Chelinski to take the lead, as Michael Kane has made his way up through this lead draft. He's been kind of an underdog this race. I haven't really seen him up front too much, but he seems to have a pretty quick car. As we came up to put some lap traffic a lap down, Mike Doan would slide up the track into Richard Chelinski as they try to get around the lap car. Skylar Dixon moves up the track in front of Andreas Allen, partially spins himself but saves it, but that would bring out a caution, and Andreas Allen does actually have a little bit of damage right now. On the restart, Mike Doan would lead the field back to the green flag. We get a nice start and would put a couple of car lengths between himself and his nearest competitor, Michael Kane. There are 22 cars left on the track. I forgot to mention that from the relatively big accident with involving Matthew Stringer and some of the other cars earlier, about 6 cars went out of the race. Spencer Fullerton, William Nicholson, Johnny Appleseed, Matthew Stringer, Matthew Nicholson, and William Duncan would retire from that. Actually, William Duncan retired from a separate mechanical failure, my bad. Meanwhile, Richard Chelinski has taken the lead. Michael Kane got around Mike Doan for a second, but Richard Chelinski would make his way past, as Mike Doan is now now forcing his way up the inside to retake the lead. A lap later, we had, guess what, another lead change. Richard Chelinski drives by Mike Doan. Michael Kane tried to get around on the inside going there, but Richard Richard's line off the corner, off of turn 2 was just too strong and he held on. Michael Caine, though, would be successful a couple of laps later as he would take the lead for the first time this race, as Paul Swanson is now going for it underneath him. Michael Caine gets a nice run down the backstretch and holds him off, as finally, at long last, it seems we've broken into a nice green flag stretch. Mike Doan would retake the lead after they negotiated lap traffic relatively easily, not like the previous couple of times that have resulted in accidents. It seems they are gradually learning, as Luko Brovac has recaught the top 6, making it a top 7 battle for the victory right now. As they tried to negotiate lap traffic, Andreas would have to check up, and Paul Swanson and Mark Nutt would make it 4 wide. Mark Nutt would not realize there was 2 cars down there, would get shunted up by Paul Swanson, who wasn't given enough room, and he and Mike Doan went hard into the wall. Andreas Allen would retire from this accident, as believe it or not, the caution would not come out from this from this, despite the smoke coming out of the back and the, well, damage to the wall. In the meantime, Carl Endumian has taken the lead for the first time this race. Mark Nutt has somehow made it up to second in that relatively damaged 0 car, but the 69 of Paul Swanson and Michael Caine in the 75 would drive around Mark Nutt and would be able to take the lead, as Tyler Faber really nearly caused an accident there. He forced Paul Swanson down onto the apron there, trying to hold the inside line. I don't know what he was doing there, but Paul Swanson holds on to the lead. Wouldn't be too long, however, before Michael Caine and Richard Chelinski drove by Paul Swanson. These two are perhaps the fastest cars still on track. Andreas was very fast, perhaps faster than both of these drivers. Had a good chance of making it 2 in a row, but he is out of the race along with Mike Doan. Mike Doan isn't quite out of the race, but he has significant damage, and I doubt he'll be contending for the win today. As now Richard Chelinski has made his way past Michael Caine back into the lead. The cycle continues as they go past Skylar Dixon. Paul Swanson tried to get around Richard Chelinski, but the erratic nature of Skylar Dixon in the past times of lapping have made Paul Swanson check up there, and Richard Chelinski will hold on to the lead for now. Paul Swanson and Michael Caine still right on his bumper there, as it looks like Michael Caine is going to move up into second here. Sure enough, Michael would move up into second, and about 5 to 10 laps later, he would make his way around Richard Chelinski. The drag created by those 2 cars side by side allowed Mark Nutt and Paul Swanson to make their way back up into the mix and make it 3 wide with him. Carl Endumian getting the draft from all 4 of them, and he's up into third already. This cycle would continue for the next few laps with Mike Doan, Carl Endumian, and Carl Endumian leading some laps before Richard Chelinski restated his dominance at the top of the grid. These 5 cars would split the lap car of Ilya Bondarenko. Ilya would be at least a little bit more gracious than he's been in the last few times he's been lapped, maintaining his line and allowing the top 5 to get around him. In the meantime, Paul Swanson's retaken the lead. That wouldn't last for long, though, as Michael Caine would move back up into the top position. Michael Caine would put a big gap on the rest of the top 5 for the next little while, but the lap car of Ty Dent slowed him up, and Richard Chelinski would take the lead back from him, as Carl Endumian forces his way underneath, and it looks like Carl's going to take the lead off of turn 2. As we get into the final laps, the drivers are becoming more and more defensive. Carl Endumian throws the block on Mark Nutt, nearly putting him into the grass there, as Carl will hold on to the lead for now. I don't know how Mark Nutt's even still in the top 5. With the amount of damage he has to his front end, that car cannot be particularly aerodynamic as the lead drivers catch up to a slower pack. As the drivers negotiated that pack, Mark Nutt would get out of the pack the fastest, and therefore would take the lead. As a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing happening again as they tried to get around those lap cars as quickly as possible. Alex Allen cuts off Mark Nutt. These back markers not being particularly gracious today, but Mark Nutt would drop to the inside, and the top 4 would manage to get around him. As you can see who's really slow by the fact that a car is getting lapped just flew by Skylar Dixon. Richard Trelinsky, meanwhile, is back up into the lead. Michael Caine would move up into second and eventually back into the lead as we have just 15 laps to go in the Aaron's 99. While leading down into turn 3, Michael Caine would blow a tire coming to just 10 laps to go. Michael Caine going to have to retire that car from the race from this. Apparently, he destroyed the axle or something on that car. As you can see, the suspension moving around quite a bit there. That tire destroyed both the axle and the suspension on that car. Unfortunate for him, he was having a great run today. The lead pack reduced to just 5 now then, as Mark Nutt tries to get around Paul Swanson, slides up, Luka Obrovac gets into them. Oh, they go hard down into the inside wall. First caution in a while here as Mark Nutt and Luka Obrovac both have significant damage now. And we have a caution with just 10 laps to go. Richard Trelinsky in the 71 would lead the 3-car lead pack back to the green flag here. The lap cars have separated them from 4th and 5th, but I can guarantee you 4th and 5th aren't as fast as these top 3 right now. As we have just 20 cars left in the race, along with and a lot of them are Whelen Modifieds cars without front ends. Coming to 5 to go, Paul Swanson would get around Richard Trelinsky and take the lead. Richard Trelinsky holding strong on the outside right now. Carl Endumian trying to go for the lead himself, but Paul Swanson's going to hold on for now. Coming to 2 to go, Carl Endumian and Richard Trelinsky have been side by side for 3 laps, but Richard Trelinsky on the outside would maintain power and would get a nice run off of turn 4, pulled the bump and run on Paul Swanson and took the lead with just a lap and a half to go. Paul Swanson dives to the inside on Richard, trying to retake the lead as we come to the white flag. Richard holding strong on the outside, and Richard will hold on for now. Can Paul get another run up on him into turn 1? Richard is able to get back to the inside, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Richard Trelinsky won 3 races last year, has had a pretty terrible season so far, is currently last in points, but I'm sure this is going to help him as he comes off of turn 4. Carl Endumian gets to the inside of Paul Swanson, and Richard Trelinsky is your victor here at the Aaron's 99 for the 4th round at North Carolina. Paul Swanson would edge off Carl Endumian for 2nd. Carl Endumian finishing 3rd in the 1 car. The 7 of Kyle Cisnowski is going to finish the race in 4th position. Terrence Day gets 5th in that, the car with a completely destroyed back end. Luka Obrovac comes across the line in 6th position. Johnny Finguy gets 7th. Luke Walker comes across the line in 8th. TJ Dent comes across in 9th. Ophelia Endumian gets 10th, and the last car in the lead lap, one of the Whelen Modifieds, Mark Nutt, finishes 11th.